I never thought I'd become the target of our HOA president's wrath, but here we are. My name is Michael, and I've lived in Oakwood Estates for 5 years without incident. That changed when Karen Thompson was elected as our Homeowners Association president 6 months ago. From the moment she took office, it was clear that Karen viewed her position less as a community service and more as a personal thief. Karen was in her mid-50s, with a perfectly maintained bob haircut that she touched up every 3 weeks precisely. Her schedule was as rigid as her personality, and she walked the neighborhood each morning at 8:30 sharp, clipboard in hand, documenting every violation with almost gleeful precision. Trash cans left out 5 minutes past the designated time. Violation grass half an inch too tall. Violation holiday decorations up 1 day past the acceptable window. You better believe that's a violation. I managed to stay under her radar until last month, when I committed the unforgivable sin of planting purple hydrangeas instead of the HOA-approved blue ones. I received a notice within 24 hours demanding that I remove the unauthorized flora immediately or face a $50 daily fine. When I explained that the soil acidity would eventually turn them blue anyway, Karen waved her hand dismissively. Rules are rules, Michael. We can't have people just planting whatever colors they want. It would be anarchy. I complied, because fighting over flowers seemed petty, but I could tell it gave Karen a taste of power she enjoyed. From then on, I noticed her lingering near my property more often, as if hoping to catch another infraction. Little did I know, this was just the beginning of her bizarre fixation on controlling every aspect of my existence in the neighborhood. The real trouble started when I ordered a new laptop for my work-from-home job. I received a delivery notification stating that my package had been delivered, but when I checked my porch, there was nothing there. Thinking it might have been misdelivered or stolen, I contacted the delivery company, who confirmed it had been handed directly to a property representative, who identified herself as authorized to accept deliveries for the entire community. I immediately knew who it was, trying to keep my tone neutral despite my growing frustration. I called Karen. Karen, did you by any chance accept a package addressed to me today? Yes, I did, she replied, her voice laced with that smug satisfaction I'd come to recognize. As HOA president, I've instituted a new package security protocol. All deliveries are now routed to my house for verification and proper distribution. It prevents theft and maintains the aesthetic integrity of our community by eliminating unsightly packages on porches. I took a deep breath. Karen, that's not within the HOA's authority. You can't just intercept people's mail and packages. That's actually illegal. She laughed, as if I'd said something ridiculous. Don't be dramatic, Michael. I'm doing everyone a favor. You can pick up your package between 4 and 4:15 this afternoon. That's the designated pickup window. Unfortunately, I had an important video conference scheduled exactly during that time, which I explained to her. I'm sorry, but that doesn't work for me. I need my package now, and you had no right to take it in the first place. Karen's voice turned icy. Well, I'm afraid those are the hours. If you can't make it, you'll have to wait until tomorrow's window. Same time. What Karen didn't know was that this wasn't just any package. Along with my new laptop, I had ordered my monthly prescription medication, which required temperature-controlled handling and needed to be refrigerated within a certain time frame. The pharmaceutical company actually placed tracking devices in these specific medication packages due to their high value and temperature sensitivity. I tried reasoning with her one more time. Karen, this package contains time-sensitive medication that needs refrigeration. It's being tracked by the pharmaceutical company. Please, I need to pick it up now. Everyone has an excuse, Michael, she said with an exasperated sigh. If I make an exception for you, I'll have to make exceptions for everyone. Rules are rules. At this point, I realized reasoning with Karen was futile. I hung up and called the non-emergency police line to explain the situation. The dispatcher seemed familiar with similar complaints and said they'd send an officer to accompany me to Karen's house. Apparently, I wasn't the first person in the neighborhood to have issues with her overstepping her authority. Officer Rodriguez met me outside my house 30 minutes later. He was professional, but couldn't hide a slight eye roll when I explained the situation. We've had other complaints about your HOA president, he admitted as we walked toward Karen's house. Nothing this serious, though. When Karen opened her door and saw me standing there with a police officer, her expression cycled rapidly from surprise to indignation to a strange sort of smug confidence. Crossing her arms, she addressed the officer while pointedly ignoring me. "Officer, I'm Karen Thompson, president of the Oakwood Estates HOA. Is there a problem?" Officer Rodriguez maintained a neutral tone. "Ma'am, I understand you're in possession of a package addressed to Mr. Michael Bennett. He's here to retrieve it." Karen's chin jutted out defiantly. "As HOA president, I've implemented a secure package acceptance policy. Residents can pick up their deliveries during designated hours only. It's all in our new bylaws." The officer shook his head slightly. "Ma'am, regardless of any homeowner association rules, intercepting and holding someone else's deliveries without their permission is not legal. You need to return Mr. Bennett's package immediately." Karen's face flushed red. "This is ridiculous. I'm providing a service to this community. Do you know how many packages get stolen these days?" "Be that as it may," Officer Rodriguez continued patiently, "you cannot take someone else's mail or packages. That's actually a federal offense. Now please return Mr. Bennett's property." With visible reluctance, Karen disappeared into her house and returned moments later carrying a large box that I immediately recognized as my delivery. When she thrust it into my hands, I noticed it had been opened and resealed with HOA-branded tape. My blood began to boil. "Did you open my package?" I asked, already knowing the answer. "All packages must be inspected to ensure they don't contain anything prohibited by HOA regulations," she replied, as if that were a perfectly reasonable explanation. Officer Rodriguez's eyebrows shot up. "Ma'am, opening someone else's mail or packages is a serious offense." While they spoke, my phone buzzed with an alert from the pharmaceutical company's tracking app. Temperature threshold exceeded. Medication integrity may be compromised. I showed the notification to the officer, explaining that the medication required refrigeration and could now be ruined because of Karen's interference. That's when things escalated quickly. The officer asked whether she had other residents' packages in her possession, and the hesitation on her face was answer enough. After obtaining a warrant, authorities discovered that she had converted her spare bedroom into a makeshift distribution center filled with dozens of packages, addressed to various neighbors, many of them already opened. Among the items were several temperature-sensitive medications, including insulin belonging to Mrs. Abernathy, the elderly woman who lived at the end of the street. Investigators also found opened financial documents, birthday gifts with cards that had been read and resealed, and even a few packages missing components. Karen was arrested on multiple charges: mail theft, mail tampering, possession of stolen property, and interference with the delivery of prescription medications. As officers led her to the police car, her face had drained of color except for two bright spots of fury burning on her cheeks. "You can't do this to me!" she shouted, struggling against the handcuffs. "I'm the HOA president. I was protecting this community." The story spread through the neighborhood like wildfire. An emergency HOA meeting was called the following evening. Karen showed up, recently released on bail but looking far less composed than usual, to face a room full of furious neighbors, many of whom had recognized their missing packages from the police evidence photos. The board voted unanimously to remove her as president, effective immediately. The final blow came when the pharmaceutical company, whose shipment she had tampered with, decided to press charges and seek damages for the compromised medications, over $10,000 worth. When the board secretary announced the vote tally, Karen's face twisted in disbelief. "You ungrateful people have no idea what I've done for this community," she cried, her voice trembling with indignation. "Without me, this place will fall into chaos. You'll be begging me to come back when your property values plummet." But as she stood there, stripped of her clipboard, her authority, and her illusion of control, no one believed her threats anymore.